information because of the shock that it would cause to the public. And he also has theories about how people are afraid of real freedom and free people, that they believe in the idea of it but not in the practice of it. And this is a very philosophical thinker for a liberal lawyer in the South at this time. And that's one reason that the character has always stuck with me.
Yeah, I believe that this dialogue here is the key dialogue in the film that really explains to the audience exactly what the film is about. Especially once he gets to that line where he says they talk to you to death about freedom, and then they see a free individual, and that scares them. And that really gets to the point. That's a beautiful line right there, though.
Which was?
How's your joint, George? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing Peter Fonda says. He's just absorbing the whole thing, and he's probably just been staring at the what do you call it? Oh man.
He's just taking it in. He's just taking it all in.
No, but it's what they call the red end that's glowing.
The cherry.
The cherry, yeah. He's just been staring at the cherry during this whole conversation. And he sees it go out, and that's the first thing he says. They're talking about Martians and government. Great shot with them pissing.
What I didn't understand is, why are they all standing in a row like that? They look very uncomfortable, for one thing. And not only that, but if I was outside with three guys and we went for a pit stop on the side of the road, another reason I wouldn't stay that close to them is what if a gust of wind comes and you're the guy in the middle or on the end? Right.
Another famous song, "Don't Bogart That Joint." That phrase really entered the pop culture lexicon at the time. It really caught on.
You know where that came from, right?
Go ahead.
That refers to actually Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah.
When he smoked.
See how the farmers wave?
Yeah, they always show that the farmer's waving.
Anyway, go back.
Humphrey Bogart, the way he smoked, I believe was because he took big puffs. So that whole phrase of "Don't Bogart That Joint" is saying, they're saying, don't hog it up.
And there we had a great cut music-wise from the "Don't Bogart My Joint" to the Jimi Hendrix "If 6 Was 9," and now we're into Louisiana. This is just some great location photography. Just fantastic. These old plantation houses, these trees that are about 200 years old, really getting a sense of what the South is. I think the dishonesty of the image of what the South is, but that's my own opinion.
It was interesting, that one shot of the American flag as they're going by, that flag was actually upside down. And an upside down flag is a nautical symbol for distress. It's used for when you're in distress, you raise an upside down flag to signal. So that's very poetic.
That's good. Now see how all the black people wave too. Like they're with it also. They understand what's going on. I think that's a very key point to be made. Look at the shitty houses they live in too. Wow, unbelievable. It really talks about the clash of culture in the South. That the slaves might be free, but they're sure as hell not doing well financially. Well,
it's all about who buys into the system, and certainly the hippie movement, and that parallel with the farmers. Here you have two kinds of people who don't buy into the system. They still believe in.
Let's cut away from that for a minute and get into this.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. This actually gets right into what I'm talking about. Here you have a group of people here who are living the way they're expected to live and not the way they want to live. And they're seeing these three individuals, and that's the key word, is individuals, and they don't like that. it's almost like they're jealous in a way.
Yeah.
And that's why it's good that they have the girls in the scene. Because that shows why they would be jealous. I mean, it's very what would you say, surficial or surficial, if there is such a superficial. There we go. But it does get to the point.
Yeah. Well, the other question is, if they didn't have Dennis Hopper with them, if it was just Jack Nicholson and Peter Fonda, would they have the same reaction? Because I think it's Dennis Hopper that looks the most outlandish to them.
Well, I don't know. He's got his red T-shirt and his white suspenders on there. He's coming in with a football helmet.
That's true.
Something's just not quite right there. Dennis Hopper loved this guy.
Yeah.
This was one of his.
The guy with the cat.
He's a local. He was actually there eating. They're all locals. That's the real sheriff there, but that was his favorite local there. He said he just captured the essence, and it's true.
Oh yeah.
It is very true.
He's unforgettable.
Yeah, and he's a clear-cut representation of what a male was expected to be like at this time in North America, and even today.
I disagree with that. I think it's more what an American man in the South was supposed to be like at that point. I think there's a distinction.
Well, I don't know. Why don't you go out to Coquitlam sometime and see what I'm talking about? You'll meet guys just like that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that Dennis Hopper and Peter Fonda are from California. Now, there's a different stereotype in California versus Louisiana.
Well, obviously it's stronger in Louisiana,
Yeah.
which is why you would have Louisiana as the backdrop. But I think it holds true throughout North America, even if it's in smaller pockets.
Mm. And these guys just play up all the stereotypes. They start talking about how the guys might be gay or how they're in with the blacks. They don't know if Dennis Hopper and these guys are men or women or this kind of stuff. It's very bizarre.
That they might be criminals or just into very weird things, that their opinions are undereducated.
And so they don't get served food, and you get a sense of impending doom here, especially with the guy wearing the yellow hat that says cat on it. Well, not only that, but here with Dennis Hopper, who can't light his match, but the guy in the cat hat says, I still don't think they'll make it past the parish line. To me, I mean, you remember the first time I saw the film, it was like, boom, that's the villain, and right away I got a sense of, okay, there's some shit's gonna happen here, right? But the other interesting thing is that these locals, they like the bikes that the guys drive. Which and they like the fact that there's a flag on the bike. It's very bizarre.
Well, that just takes me right back to, you have these characters who are just doing what's expected of them. They're not being their own free individual, and they're jealous of that, and they're angry and they're frustrated, and they take out that frustration on the people that they see actually being what they want to be.
Okay, now given that you're in the philosophical mode right now, what do you think the filmmakers are trying to say, given what you just said, with the last 20 minutes of the film and the way it ends?
I believe what they're trying to say is that it's almost impossible to achieve freedom on Earth. As long as you're always butting heads with other people.
Even today, or just back then?
I think a lot of the philosophies of back then still hold true today.
Okay.
Maybe not. No, you know what? They hold true just as strong then as they do today, even though people aren't voicing out their opinions as strongly.
Okay.
Plus, even if people's opinions are kind of going in the wrong direction too. Things are really mixed up today.
Right.
That's for sure. A lot of people are just on their own agenda. There isn't that sense of unity that there was in the 60s, that's for sure.
Okay, well, I got to talk about best line in the movie, I think, another line that just sums up the film is when Nicholson says, and I mean we're a little past it now. We're at the 70-minute and 18-second mark if you're in sync. But he says, "This used to be a hell of a good country, and I don't know what's gone wrong with it." A very bold statement for that time and place. I think it even applies today, actually.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the whole idea of North America, the American way, is you know, is freedom for all. You know, justice and living this utopian lifestyle. But really, there's all these other elements that prevent you from actually doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're actually told what freedom is. You know, and that's a scary thing.
Maybe you can't remember, but when you first saw the film, did you see it coming that it was going to be Nicholson?
No, I didn't actually. And but you know, of course, it had to be that way.
Why?
Well, because he's representing. In fact, they talk about this in the documentary, I believe.
Okay.
He's representing what's expected of a North American male at the time. Like you said, he's a lawyer and he's got his hair cut short and he wears a suit and you know, and he wants to be free like these two, but he knows he has certain responsibilities.
Right.
Particularly, I guess you might say responsibilities to the machine, right? So he would never spout off those philosophies he has about the UFOs and everything to anyone else, because then he'd know he'd be thrown in the loony bin. Mm-hmm. And what's great about that scene when he gets killed is it shows this betrayal of him being killed by his own kind.
Yeah. By
his fellow Americans.
Well, my main point though is that do they really know that they are killing George Hansen, or is it just random? You know, like, did they just kill one of them because, you know, they can't see their faces because they're hidden in these sleeping bags? That's my question.
I believe it's random.
Yeah.
Because what that would also enforce is the idea of this kind of flailing, lashing out of frustration from one person to another without even knowing why they're lashing out and who they're taking it out on. They just want to take it out on someone. Right. And that someone who gets caught in the crossfire turns out to be one of their own. And it's betraying.
Mm-hmm. Some really violent stuff there. I couldn't believe some of those shots the first time I saw it. I just did not see it coming. And especially that first one where they just put an axe right through his neck. I was just blown away at how grisly it was. And the other thing is, those shots where they cut to Dennis Hopper where he's sort of flailing around with a knife, do you think he was doing that when the attackers were there, or do you think he does it when he sort of wakes up after? Because I never took it that he actually does it when they're there. Yeah, and scares them off.
It is kind of strange when you look at the cut. When he's doing it, it seems like they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that, he is doing it when they're not there, or just as they're leaving.
Yeah. Like, it's the shock of seeing George, and then he's like, ah, and he's got his knife out and all that, so. And to me, this is an interesting scene because you really see the sort of the tender, caring side of Dennis Hopper's character, if there is one, in that, you know, he sees his card and, like, he really, you know, he's just about to go to tears, you know, he's like, here's his card, man. You know, he really feels something for the guy. But then we cut quickly right away to one of my favorite songs on the soundtrack, Kyrie Eleison, and this psychedelic montage of eating a great meal in a fancy restaurant. Goes to show you that whatever you look like, you can always get into a nice place with enough money. Comments?
Yeah. As long as you're a rock star, you can go anywhere you want. People don't care what you look like.
Yeah, especially if you have bruises and cuts all over your face too, it doesn't matter. So, but I agree with you in the sense, you know, Dennis Hopper is the more adventurous one. Peter Fonda is more of the observer, philosopher. Like, Dennis Hopper's like, yeah, let's go to the whorehouse, let's go. Peter Fonda's like, oh, okay. Okay, we'll go.